And welcome back to Mrs. P What Is For Tea. We're doing ribeye steak and we're doing it on the AGA60, so I'm just going to make up a marinade for it. So I've actually measured everything, which is something I don't normally do, but I have measured everything. So I have got olive oil, the minced garlic from Costco, the Montreal steak seasoning, salt and pepper. So I have got 2 tablespoonfuls of olive oil, and to that I am going to add 1 dessert spoonful of the minced garlic. I think that's probably the equivalent of about maybe 2 cloves. I have got 2 teaspoonfuls of the Montreal steak seasoning. So 2 teaspoonfuls of that. Then I've got 1 teaspoonful of salt and half a teaspoonful of pepper. So I measured everything, which is so unusual for me. I usually just shove it in and hope for the best. So move all those out of the way. So here we are. I've got 2 ribeye steaks. These were bought in Aldi. So they have actually been in the freezer because we didn't get round to using them. We bought them in an Aldi shop a few weeks ago. So just stirring up that sauce. And then that's it, pouring it over one side. And I'm just going to flip these over so that they're sat in the sauce. And then put the rest over the other side. So I have used all of that. And then I've got a pastry brush that I use for savoury. I'm just going to brush that in and over. And I shall put just a bit of tin foil over these and pop them back in the fridge until we're ready to cook them. So that marinade has got 2 teaspoonfuls of the Montreal steak seasoning, 1 dessert spoonful of minced garlic, 2 tablespoonfuls of olive oil, 1 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper. So we'll leave them to marinade for a little while before we cook them on the AGA60. Well, but here we are, we're carrying on making the steak dinner. So I have got here 1 of the large sweet onions and 2 peppers chopped, roughly chopped, not finely chopped. And I've got a punnet of mushrooms. So I've got the boiling plate on, new potatoes are in this pan. I'm just adding a little bit of olive oil to that and let that warm up a little bit. And then we're going to stir fry or fry these. So I've got 2 peppers, a yellow and a red, and a large sweet onion that we're going to fry up. Once that's going, I'll add in the mushrooms. I'm going to add in a little bit of garlic to the olive oil. Just to give the oil some taste. That oil's still cold, it's not sizzling yet, so we'll leave that another minute or so. That starts sizzling. And then we'll add in the vegetables. So once the Jersey Royals are on a rolling boil, I'm going to drain them and put them in the simmering oven, and then that'll leave me the hob free to do anything else that I want to do. I'm going to cook the steak on the hob on a griddle pan. So actually there's no need for my top oven to be on. It is on because I've cooked chicken for Mr. P today, which I'm going to cut up and box up for him for work. So I'll show you that shortly. And then, yeah, so this is our dinner on a Sunday. We are having steak, new potatoes, sautéed onions, peppers and mushrooms, and we're going to have some of that nice broccoli salad with it. So get a wooden spoon. Oh yeah, that's sizzling now. Oh, lovely. Okay. So I'm going to add in the onions and the peppers, which take a little bit longer to cook than the mushrooms. I think mushrooms cook quite quickly. So I'll just give them, oh, there's some really big bits that I've not chopped very well. Just give them a bit of a stir. And we'll leave them to cook for about 5-10 minutes. And we'll come back and have a look and add in the mushrooms. I think what I might do though is add a little bit of water just to make some steam. Let's do that. Just grab a bottle of water. Just a tiny bit, and it just creates some steam and helps the cooking process. So we'll leave that for the time being and come back in about 5-10 minutes and have a look. Okay, so this has had about 10 minutes. Those are softening up lovely. So I'm just going to add in the mushrooms. Got a punnet of mushrooms here, cut up. So let's just add those in. I'm going to also salt and pepper it. The salt just helps the mushrooms release their water content. Mushrooms have a lot of water in them, and it does release during the cooking process. So let's just salt and pepper those. So good bit of salt. I don't like anything under seasoned, and luckily me and Mr. P agree on the amount of seasoning that I put in food, so we've got similar tastes in that regard, so it's not an issue. So that's salt and peppered. Just have a look at these potatoes, see how they're doing. Yeah, it's starting to boil. So I'll move that over. Let those carry on cooking. So we'll give that another 10 minutes and have another look. That's coming on lovely. Okay, so that's had another 10 minutes, and I don't know whether you can see, there's a lot of liquid. Can you see that? A lot of liquid cooked out of the mushrooms. So I've taken the lid off, and I'm just going to let that dry off. Is that the right phrase? Let that liquid cook down, and yeah, allow those to crisp up a little bit. So they're all fully cooked, they're soft, but they just need to maybe crisp up a little bit. So I'm going to give that another 10 minutes or so without the lid on, and then see where we are. I might have to pour that liquid off, and then yeah, let them crisp up on the hob. So I'm just going to leave them, the potatoes, boiling away lovely. So I'll just move them over like that, and I think what actually I'm going to do is I'm going to put the onions and mushrooms in the simmering oven and just let them finish off in there. I'll see how they are once the steak is cooked. I'll put the potatoes in the top oven and we'll start the steak. So I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, so I've had the griddle pan on the boiling plate now for a little over 5 minutes, so as it's really hot. This is actually the top of the pan that I do my big cook in, but it is a griddle, so it's a sort of dual purpose pan, if you will. So I've got the steaks that we have been marinating, and this is how I cook steak on the AGA60. Once again, I'm not saying it's the right way, I'm saying it's just my way. This is how I do it. So these are ribeye steaks, and they have been marinating, and that's that marinade that I made up. That's it, and on they go. Just going to pour onto them what's left on the plate. So I will let those have a couple of minutes on the first side, and you know when they're ready to lift, because they don't stick to the pan. It is a non-stick pan, but when they're ready to lift they won't stick to the pan once the first side's slightly cooked. So these are ribeye steaks. These are ribeye steaks that we bought in Aldi a couple of weeks ago. They were in a shop a couple of weeks ago. They did go in the freezer because we didn't get round to using them. So this is us having them now. And this is how I cook steak on the AGA60. I cook it on the boiling plate on a griddle pan. As I say, there's 100 ways to cook steak, but this is just the way that we prefer it. So I give it about 5-6 minutes altogether, and that should be cooked how we like it. We like it medium well, so slightly pink in the middle, but not so as it could get up and walk away like my granddaughter has it. So yeah, we're going to leave these for about 5 or 6 minutes, and then I will let them sit and rest under tin foil for about 10 minutes, so that they're nice and succulent. So, and that's how I cook steak on the AGA60. See how it just comes up lovely. Yeah, let that have about 5-6 minutes, and then we'll let that rest. So there we go, that's had about 6 minutes. Just give it one final turn. And then we will leave that to rest on a clean plate under some tin foil. We'll just give that about 5 or 10 minutes resting. So I think that is, for us, absolutely perfect. Pop that under tin foil, mainly to save it from Mr. Muffin, who likes a bit of steak. I'm going to move the veg from this pan into that griddle pan just to finish off. Just let that fry off in those nice juices. Let that finish off. So I'll show you this all plated up. Okay, so I'm just going to plate up the dinner. So we have got the steak that we cooked in the AGA60. Which looks beautiful. And then we've got the vegetables, the peppers, onions and mushrooms that we cooked on the hot plate as well. So really, you don't need the oven on at all to make this. You could do this all on the hot plate without having the oven on at all. So cooked in the AGA60. As I say, this is how we like it. Onions, mushrooms, peppers with the steak. Lovely. And what's left will not go to waste. I'm going to make a pasta dish for Mr. P for work, so that'll get stirred into his pasta dish. Then we have new potatoes, and all I've done is add a wee bit of butter. These are Jersey Royals, cut and buttered. And we're having with it some of the broccoli salad that Mr. P got at Costco this week. It's got a lovely sweet onion dressing. And there we are. How does that look? Steak, onions, mushrooms, peppers, salad and Jersey Royal potatoes. And that is how we do a steak dinner in this house. Very, very simply. I'm no chef, I'm just a home cook. This is how we like it. So the steak was absolutely perfect, just the way we like it. Love you to subscribe to the channel. We're at 61 subscribers, hoping to get to 100 before October. And I'd love you to join us. So kindly click that subscribe button, like the video, leave me a comment. That was a steak dinner cooked on the hot plate of the AGA60. We really enjoyed it. The steak was beautiful, and you'll see in our video about food prep what we did with the leftovers. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I look forward to speaking to you soon.